Have you ever noticed that the harder you try to win her over, the faster she slips away? Yet the moment you stop chasing, when your attention turns inward and your energy no longer reaches for her, something changes. Her mind starts to wander, her curiosity stirs. Suddenly, the silence around you feels magnetic. This is the quiet contradiction of attraction, the unspoken law that makes your disinterest more powerful than your pursuit. You've witnessed this countless times, though you may not have recognized it for what it truly was. The moment you start trying too hard, offering constant validation, proving your worth through attention, waiting for her approval, something in her expression dulls. The spark fades. The conversation loses gravity. It's as if the air between you thins, and no matter how much you give, something vital slips through your fingers. Yet, when you withdraw your effort, not in resentment, but in quiet composure, a strange reversal begins. The energy shifts. Suddenly she looks at you longer than before. She listens differently. You haven't changed your words, only your center of gravity. Most men believe pursuit is the essence of attraction. They think consistency means chasing, attention means affection, and effort means love. They mistake motion for meaning, but what they never learn is that excessive pursuit signals emotional dependence, and dependence erases desire. Every attempt to prove yourself announces, "I need your response to feel whole." And instinctively, her respect declines, because in her subconscious, the man who needs her approval cannot lead her emotions. You've probably felt it in your own body, the tension of over-effort, the restless energy that grows when you try to control an outcome. Your voice quickens, your gestures become rehearsed, your silence feels unbearable. That tension doesn't just live inside you, it radiates outward. She senses it like static in the air. What draws her in isn't your eagerness, but your steadiness. She is magnetized by your stillness, by the unspoken strength of a man whose emotions do not depend on the room he stands in. You see, attraction is not built through words, it's transmitted through energy. When you stand in your own calm, when you hold your gaze without expectation, she feels the difference immediately. It's not arrogance, it's assurance. You communicate, without a single word, that you are whole with or without her. That silent message ignites a deeper curiosity. Who is he that he doesn't need to prove himself? The average man is addicted to response. He talks to be validated. He compliments to be acknowledged. He reaches out to feel seen. His attention is a currency he spends recklessly, and because of that it loses all value. But your disinterest, your refusal to beg for her gaze, restores scarcity to your presence. In that scarcity, she feels worth chasing you. This doesn't mean playing games or withholding affection to manipulate. It means mastering your emotional economy, learning when to give and when to guard. It's about valuing your focus as something sacred, not something spent on every impulse. Your calm disinterest is not indifference, it is controlled generosity. You choose where your attention flows, and that choice is what makes it powerful. A woman doesn't want a man who ignores her. She wants a man who is not consumed by her. She is drawn to the contradiction between your warmth and your restraint. She wants to feel that you could chase her, but that you choose not to. That subtle difference, the freedom of choice, is what separates confidence from dependence. Imagine two men, one constantly explaining himself, reassuring her, seeking permission to exist in her orbit. The other stands still, listens more than he speaks, and lets silence hang heavy in the air. The first drains energy, the second generates it, because she feels something ancient around him, the emotional safety of a man anchored in himself. Your disinterest is not about creating distance, it's about embodying presence without demand. It tells her, "I see you, but I don't need you to complete me." That message resonates on a primal level. It reflects strength, autonomy, and self-control, the three qualities that trigger a woman's respect long before her affection follows. You start to notice this inversion everywhere. The man who texts constantly becomes forgettable. The one who doesn't chase becomes a mystery. The man who explains every emotion becomes exhausting. The one who guards his inner world becomes magnetic. It's not a trick, it's emotional discipline. What is rare becomes valuable, and what is effortless becomes divine. And here lies the deeper revelation. Your disinterest doesn't repel her, it reveals you. It shows her that your attention has weight, that your time has borders, that your emotions have hierarchy. She cannot play with what she cannot control. And so your quiet composure commands her focus in ways loud desire never could. The moment you stop performing, you begin to emanate. When your energy no longer stretches outward in search of validation, it circles inward, condensing into presence, into certainty. And that presence becomes magnetic because it stands still while the world moves. That's the real reason women find a man's disinterest magnetic. It's not cruelty or manipulation, it's the psychological reflection of masculine order. It's the law of emotional physics. The more you need her, the less she feels you. The less you depend, the more she respects you. When your center holds, when your composure remains unbroken, she feels something sacred in your restraint. And that's the payoff. The quiet revelation most men never reach. When you no longer chase her approval, you rise above her emotional gravity. You become the calm she didn't know she was searching for, the man whose silence commands more than words ever could. You begin to understand that detachment is not coldness, it's control. The kind of control that cannot be faked because it comes from a man who has already conquered himself. Stoic men understood this long before psychology gave it language. Marcus Aurelius wrote that your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought. When your thoughts orbit around a woman, your identity bends toward her approval. But when your focus returns to principle, discipline, and inner command, the orbit reverses, and she begins to revolve around you. The world subtly rewards men who master their attention. Every moment of silence, every decision not to react, strengthens your gravity. You stop being another voice competing for her attention and become the still point she unconsciously calibrates herself against. That's the paradox of emotional power. The less you express need, the more influence you possess. She feels it in the way you don't flinch, in how your tone remains level even when her emotions spike, in how your eyes stay steady when hers search for confirmation. This is not manipulation, it's discipline. It's the art of remaining unmoved by temporary storms so that your presence becomes the anchor others unconsciously lean toward. A woman doesn't trust the man who mirrors her emotions. She trusts the one whose calm absorbs them. Her attraction is born from that trust, because while her feelings shift like waves, your steadiness becomes the shoreline that defines them. Machiavelli would have called it the power of distance. In The Prince, he wrote that a ruler must know when to reveal warmth and when to preserve mystery. The same principle lives within attraction. When you reveal everything, curiosity dies. When you withhold nothing but remain selective, intrigue deepens. The difference lies in intention, not in deception, but in control. You choose when to open and when to withhold. You let silence speak when words would only weaken your position. You can see this everywhere in male behavior. Most men give their entire story away before a woman has earned even a glimpse. They reveal their insecurities disguised as vulnerability. They apologize for being masculine before they've even been misunderstood. They believe honesty means exposure. But truth, when delivered without boundary, loses its potency. A king doesn't announce his every move. He lets the results speak, and so should you. Modern behavioral psychology confirms what ancient philosophy already knew. People value what is scarce and pursue what feels uncertain. When your attention becomes selective, it activates her instinct to earn it. The brain interprets scarcity as significance. She begins to attach meaning to your calmness, reading depth into your silences, projecting mystery into your restraint. This is why your composure feels magnetic. It gives her space to imagine, and imagination is the foundation of desire. But there's a deeper layer beneath this. Your disinterest works not because it's a tactic, but because it communicates freedom. Freedom from outcome, from dependence, from emotional chaos. And freedom is the purest form of masculine power. It's what every woman senses when she meets a man who could walk away and still remain whole. That kind of man is dangerous, not because he threatens, but because he cannot be controlled. Your indifference is not a wall, it's a mirror. It reflects her own emotional volatility and forces her to face it. Some women will try to provoke a reaction just to see if they can touch your core. They test not because they dislike you, but because they want to know where your limits end. Every test is a search for certainty, and each time you remain calm, you answer that question without speaking. You show her that your emotions are not negotiable, that your sense of worth is not on loan to anyone. This is where Stoicism meets Machiavellianism, where emotional detachment becomes both virtue and strategy. The Stoic disciplines his desires to master himself. The Machiavellian channels that mastery to command his environment. You do both when you stop seeking control through reaction and begin asserting it through restraint. Your calm becomes an active force, not passivity, but power measured in silence. Think of the strongest men in history. They were not loud. Their power wasn't broadcast, it was felt. They spoke rarely, acted deliberately, and carried an aura that made others adjust their tone in their presence. That aura doesn't come from dominance, it comes from certainty. And certainty grows only in solitude. In the hours when you turn away from the world's noise and train your mind to obey your command. When you embody this, your relationships transform. A woman no longer becomes your purpose, but your reflection. Her attraction no longer dictates your actions, it confirms your direction. She feels safer around you, not because you submit to her emotions, but because you are unmoved by them. The modern world calls this emotional intelligence, but the ancients called it virtue, the capacity to remain whole while everything else shifts. And this wholeness creates a gravitational field that no performance can imitate. She will try to explain it. Maybe she'll call it confidence or mystery or presence, but deep down she feels something older. A man in command of himself, not trying to impress or perform. The kind of man she can test but never unbalance. The more you master this state, the more your life aligns with natural law. You stop chasing outcomes and start attracting order. You begin to see that disinterest is not withdrawal from life. It is engagement with it at a higher level. It's the ability to choose where your emotions flow instead of being dragged by them. And that's the silent threshold, the transformation most men never cross. The point where discipline becomes charisma, where composure becomes magnetism, where the absence of reaction becomes the loudest statement you could ever make. Eventually you realize that disinterest is not an act of turning away, it's an act of turning inward. It's the quiet declaration that your life is already full, that your purpose does not orbit her affection, and your peace is not up for negotiation. When you reach that state, something profound shifts in the way the world responds to you. You stop vibrating with need. You stop seeking validation in the eyes of others. And in that silence, a new kind of presence emerges, one that commands attention without ever asking for it. A woman can sense it instantly. She may not articulate it, but she feels the difference between a man who wants her and a man who has himself. The first leans forward, reaching into her world. The second stands tall, drawing her into his. The first chases approval, the second projects direction. It's not arrogance, it's certainty, a self-contained energy that tells her she's meeting someone who has already faced his own chaos and returned whole. There's a sacred tension in this balance. You don't withdraw out of bitterness or indifference. You withdraw because you've learned that energy is currency, and you no longer spend it where it yields no return. You've seen how easily desire can become dependence when it lacks direction. You've learned that not every spark deserves your flame, and so you hold back, not to punish but to preserve. That restraint becomes your signature, the quiet proof of discipline that most men never master. Psychologically, what happens next is inevitable. Your composure creates contrast. She begins to feel the silence that used to belong to your attention. It makes her question what she overlooked when she had it. The absence of your pursuit becomes its own form of presence, an echo that stirs her curiosity and challenges her ego. Her mind begins to loop around questions she cannot answer. Why did his attention feel different? Why does his calm stay in my thoughts? That's when attraction transforms into fascination. Because fascination is born not from what is revealed, but from what remains unexplained. It's in the way your restraint leaves room for her imagination, in the way your unpredictability sparks emotional tension, in the way your peace makes her wonder what kind of world exists inside your mind. She can feel that you're guided by something larger, a private code, an inner law that no amount of beauty can bend. The Stoics would call this mastery of the self. Machiavelli would call it control of perception. Psychology would call it secure detachment. But you, as a man, will simply feel it, that unmistakable state where your emotions are governed, not suppressed, where your worth is known, not negotiated. You carry it in your posture, in the pauses between your words, in the way you move through the world without hurry. That calm doesn't repel her, it draws her deeper, because it represents everything modern chaos has stripped from men: discipline, purpose, and self-command. And here lies the revelation. Your disinterest is magnetic because it communicates value without performance. It tells her, I am already fulfilled. And fulfillment is the most irresistible energy a man can radiate. It cannot be faked because it's not about pretending not to care. It's about genuinely caring for something higher than her approval. Your mission, your craft, your evolution. The man who walks that path becomes untouchable, not because he avoids connection, but because he transcends dependency. When you embody that, her response is no longer the focus. It's the echo. She may lean in, she may test, she may retreat, but your center remains unmoved. You understand that attraction is not the goal, it's the byproduct of living by principle. The moment you stop trying to win her and start trying to master yourself, everything changes. Because every instinct in her biology is wired to respect a man who leads himself. She doesn't follow words, she follows energy, and energy obeys hierarchy. She gravitates toward what feels stronger, steadier, and self-sufficient. But understand this, disinterest is not withdrawal from love. It's preparation for it. It's the purifying fire that burns away dependency and leaves only presence. It allows love to exist without control, desire to exist without desperation. That's the kind of love a masculine man can give, one rooted in freedom, not fear. And this freedom, this unshakable composure, will become the hallmark of your presence. The room will feel it before you speak. The world will notice it before you announce it. A woman will sense it before she understands it. That rare energy of a man who could stay or go, love or leave, and remain complete either way. In that moment, you become a mirror to her subconscious. You reflect not what she wants, but what she fears losing. Stability, direction, masculine certainty. Your calm forces her to confront her own instability, her own longing for something constant in a world of endless noise. That's why she finds your disinterest magnetic. It's not about the withdrawal itself. It's about what it represents, a man who doesn't need to chase because he already carries the very thing she's searching for. When you finally understand this, a quiet truth settles inside you. You see that your power was never in pursuit, it was in presence. You were never meant to chase love. You were meant to embody it through strength, silence, and purpose. The less you reach, the more you draw in. The more you hold back, the more the world leans forward. And so, when she looks at you, uncertain, curious, drawn without knowing why, she's not responding to a tactic. She's responding to truth. The truth that you no longer measure yourself by her reactions. The truth that your peace is self-generated. The truth that real masculinity doesn't demand attention. It earns reverence through self-mastery. By the end, you no longer ask, does she want me? You ask, am I in command of myself? Because the man who owns his silence, his time, and his emotions owns everything that truly matters. That is why your disinterest is magnetic. Because it's not disinterest at all, it's mastery. And mastery never chases.